Shiraz is one of the oldest cities in Iran. Its history goes back over 4,000 years, mentioned in ancient tablets as far back as 2000 BC, which means this isn't just another city. This is a place that has existed through almost every phase of Persian civilization. Geographically, Shiraz sits in the southwest of Iran, in the province of Fars, the historical heartland of Persia itself. This is the same region that gave rise to the Achaemenid Empire, to Cyrus the Great, and to nearby sites like Persepolis. The city itself lies at an elevation of about 1,500 meters above sea level, surrounded by the Zagros Mountains. These mountains matter. They've always acted as both a protection and isolation, shielding the region while also shaping how people, trade, and armies move through it. And like many major Iranian cities, Shiraz grew where survival was possible, where water, trade routes, and geography all intersected. That is why it has endured. And the elevation gives Shiraz a very different climate than what you might expect. When people think of Iran, they imagine heat, dryness, desert. But Shiraz, especially in the spring, is cold, wet, and unpredictable. Every day I was there, it rained consistently. Historically, Shiraz wasn't always the political capital, but it was often something just as important. It was a center of culture, of knowledge, of identity. After the Islamic conquest, it rose in importance and became a major regional capital. By the medieval period, it had earned a reputation as a center of art, scholarship, and literature, so much so that it was known as the House of Knowledge. This is the city that produced some of the most important figures in Persian history, like the poets Hafiz and Sa'di Shirazi. Their tombs are still here today, not just as historical sites, but as places people actively visit, reflect, and connect with. In Shiraz, poetry isn't just literature, it's part of the culture, the identity of the people, the way that they understand their lives. And the city is also known for its gardens, not just for their beauty, but for what they represent. Order in the middle of chaos. Life in the middle of dryness. That same Persian idea of paradise we discussed in a previous episode, an enclosed, cultivated world. And at different points in history, Shiraz did become the capital, most notably under the Zand dynasty in the 18th century when it was rebuilt and expanded into a major political and economic center. But even when it wasn't the capital, it remained something else. Shiraz was a cultural capital, a city of poets, gardens, and ideas. A place that preserved Persian identity, even as empires rose and fell all around it. And now, just like the rest of the country, it is a city under bombardment. Upon our arrival in Shiraz, a local reporter greeted us and informed us about several civilian sites that had been bombed. He took us on a tour to see them firsthand. The first place we visited was a campground in a valley with a stunning view of the surrounding mountains. This area is usually filled with domestic tourists, especially during Nowruz. As you know, we arrived in Iran on the first day of Nowruz. During that time, the US bombed this campground, killing dozens of civilians. The strike destroyed cars, homes, cabins, and small businesses. But like many of these attacks, it didn't end with the first explosion. A double tap strike followed, killing civilians and first responders who had rushed in to help. This ambulance here was completely destroyed.
It was used in the ambulance. It is destroyed, fully destroyed. What is the ambulance? The first explosion takes place here, which was the emergency building that now you do not see the structure.
صدای انفجار اول که میاد بچه‌های اورژانس محصور میشن توی اینجا.
Then after the sound of first explosion, when the emergency workers were trapped here,
مردم اون منازلی رو که می‌بینی که شکسته همش و جای ترکش رو روی ساختمون‌ها می‌بینی.
And the houses that you see on the other side of the street, which is a residential location, and still you see the sharp nails on the walls. People rushed and they arrived here. Ambulance
از اینجا که محل پارکش بوده پرتاب میشه روی اون نقطه که من ویدیوشو الان نشون میدم.
He says because of the explosion and because of the wave of explosion, one ambulance was thrown away from here and it goes to Gat Street and it falls down here. The person that you see here, he was one of the medical staff. He was killed there. His name is Hassan Mohammadi.
We also visited the home of a man nearby who had tried to assist the victims.
سلام سلام خوش آمدید.
In the process, he injured his legs and had to have it amputated.
قاسم بوستانیان.
My name is قاسم بوستانیان. چند سالتونه؟
کارمند بازنشسته 62 سال.
I'm 62 years old and I'm a retired employee.
کارمند بازنشسته کتابخونه.
A retired employee of a library. He's 62 years old, and as I understood, he got amputated his left knee from up top part of the knee. He has lost his feet. کی این اتفاق افتاد؟
14 اسفند ساعت 8 و 15 دقیقه شب بود.
He says that on 14th Esfand in Persian calendar. چه ساعتی بود؟
8 و 15 دقیقه.
It was a quarter past 8. چی شد؟ Yeah.
انفجار اول که زد من بیرون بودم.
همون اتفاق اونجا. He says that just minutes ago we just visited a location for tourists. In that location he got injured. He says that I was outside.
انفجار اول که زد بیرون بودم چون خیلی نزدیک بود رفتم برای کمک.
When I heard the first explosion, then I rushed to help them.
اون لحظه پام داغ شد، قطع شد و افتادم از
Then
کتم.
I fell down from my side and I felt that my feet got a bit hot.
یعنی وقتی قطع شد افتادم.
He says I fell down when my knee was caught. Then I fell down.
من پاک هیچ همه وجود من باشه برای کشورمون، وطنمون، مردمون حاضر. من اتفاقا
He says not only my feet, I give all my body to my country.
من حاضر بودم فدا بشم ولی بچه اورژانس زنده بودن برای کمک. اونا شهید نشده بودن. جمله هم درست گفتم؟
بله. He says that I was ready and I felt like I would be killed, but I could help the emergency staff and help them survive because they were trapped on the rubble. He said that I could lose my life. It's okay, no worries. But I wanted to help them.
So at the time this happened, you were not retired, you were working. Was anybody you know, any family members, any friends injured in this attack?
آیا دوستی همسایه آشنایی دیگه بود که تو اون حمله آسیب دیده باشه بشه؟
بله شهید شدن. چند تا از دوستام دانشجو بودن، استاد دانشگاه بودن.
Yeah, I had some friends, they were students, they were professors, they were killed, they were martyred.
2 نفر از مغازه‌دارای سوپری که اومدن
2 of the shopkeepers
اومدن کمک کنن.
who came to help. کشته شدن؟
شهید شدن.
Yeah, they were martyred.
شهید شدن.
So my last question is that Trump and Netanyahu say that they seek to liberate the people of Iran. What is your response to that claim?
پاسختون به ادعاهای ترامپ و نتانیاهو که میگن مردم ایران رو میخوان آزاد کنن چیه؟
خب اونا که کل دنیا دیگه متوجه شدن به دروغاشون.
Whole world has noticed their lies.
شبا اگر که شبا مشاهده بکنید تو خیابون ببینید که اکثریت مردم متحد بیرون برای دفاع از کشور وطن همه متحد هستن و همه تقاضا داره از نیروی مسلح که دفاع جانانشون ادامه بدن.
He says that if you notice people during nights and evenings on the street, they're all united. They have their resistance and they want the armed forces to continue this way of defending the country, just to defend the country, defend the homeland.
He has lived in this house for decades, and in front of it, he planted loquat and sour orange trees with his own hands. Shiraz is famous for its sour orange trees known as naranj in Farsi. This isn't something recent. For centuries, Shiraz has been known as a city of gardens and fragrance. Naranj trees were brought into the region through early trade routes and became deeply rooted in the identity of the city, especially during the Islamic and medieval periods, when Persian garden culture was at its peak. These aren't just decorative, they are part of daily life. Their blossoms are used for fragrance, for cooking, for medicine, and during the springtime, you can smell them everywhere. I am not exaggerating when I say that the entire city carries the scent of the sour orange. Street after street, neighborhood after neighborhood, almost every household plants and takes care of these trees. It's part of the culture here, part of the rhythm of life. Another young man, recently married just a year ago, was killed in the bombing. His widow was too devastated to speak to us on camera.
She's very sad, overwhelmed.
Yes, she is, and because they are newlywed, just 2 years ago they got married, and now her husband is dead, and she's not in a good situation.
A young love cut short by a war instigated by men on the other side of the planet that she'll never meet. Not far from there, we spoke to the son of a shopkeeper who was also killed in the double tap strike while trying to assist the injured. You could tell he was in shock, but he held himself together in front of the camera. He shared with us how it was now his responsibility to run the store and take care of his mother and his siblings.
He was a shopkeeper, Ali Reza Pari. When he hears the sound of explosion, he grabs some bottles of water and runs to the incident location just to give help to people. But shrapnel hits him and he is martyred at that moment. And Mohammed, his son, he is 26 years old. He is narrating the story of his father.
بعد که انفجار پیش میاد چند نفر پایین‌تر صدمه دیده بودن دست قطع و اینا.
صدای انفجار اومد اینجا
آره دیگه ما همینجا داریم.
When the incident took place, we heard the sound of explosion. Then we saw that some people are injured there at the end of this street. خب
بعد یه چند دقیقه طول میکشه برای مغازه میاره پایین با یه دبه آبی شل آب معدنی کامل اینجا بوده. برمی‌داره میره.
بابا. Then after a few minutes, my father takes some bottles of water. بعد میره سمت حادثه درسته؟
میره سمت حادثه.
He goes close to the incident location.
یه چند نفر اول اینجا بودن به قبل که چی باشه آب میده اونجا.
Then he gives water to some people who were fallen on the street.
میره سمت همون جایی که انفجار اول شده بوده.
Then he goes close to the location when the first explosion took place.
که دیگه اونجا بعد 7-8 دقیقه انفجار بعدی رو
Then after 7 to 8 minutes, the second explosion took place.
که دیگه اونجا به شهادت میرسه.
ترکش به بابا خورد.
بابام پاش قطع شده بوده اینجا صدمه دیده بوده و سرش.
He says that shrapnel hit my father پای راستشون.
پای راست.
His right leg, stomach and part of his head. All of them were injured. در همونجا شهید میشه محمد جان.
همون در لحظه.
At that moment he was martyred. بابا چند سالشون بود شهید شد؟
بابام 49 سالش بود.
He was 49 years old when he was martyred. کلاً چند تا بچه محمد؟
ما 3 تا پسر هستیم.
3 تا پسر.
نه 2 تا پسرم یه خواهر.
We are 3 brothers and 1 sister. بعد شما بزرگتری کوچک.
من بزرگترم شما.
And I'm the oldest son. بقیه آبجی‌ها چیزا رو معرفی می‌کنید داداشم.
کوروش داداشم 10 سالشه، آبجیم هم 12 سالشه.
Then my other brother Kurosh is 10 years old and my sister is 12 years old.
خواهرم 12 سالشه.
یه خواهر دیگه. 2 تا خواهر.
نه یه خواهر هست، 2 تا پسر.
آها.
کلاً 3 نفر.
1 sister, 2 brothers. تمام. Any question?
Your mother is alive?
مادر در قید حیات هستن؟
آره هستن.
Yes, yes she is.
Was
Ali Reza Pari.
علی رضا پری. Yeah.
and your father owned the shop?
بابا صاحب مغازه بوده؟
آره صاحب مغازه.
Yes. دوربین رو نگاه کن.
Who will run it now?
الان چه کسی مغازه رو چیز میکنه؟
دست خودم.
I'm doing it. I'm running it.
What do you say to people in the West who believe that the United States is trying to liberate the Iranian people?
میگه پیامت برای مردم غرب که به اصطلاح مثلا میگن که ترامپ اومده مردم ایران رو آزاد بکنه، صحبت چیه برای مردم اونا؟
من میگم ترامپ آدم حرامخوری بیشتر نیست.
He curses Trump and he says that he's not a good man. He's not.
No good ترامپ.
مرسی. ممنونم محمد جان.
We then went to a mechanic shop which was right next to a rug warehouse that had been targeted. There was shrapnel everywhere. Holes, big and small, tore through the entire site. Metal walls, doors, structures, all of it were punctured from hundreds of feet away, even inside of the warehouse. And this is, I think, important to understand. This is usually how bombs kill people. You don't have to be hit directly by the bomb, because a tiny fragment of shrapnel traveling at very high speeds can kill anyone standing hundreds of feet away. We later visited a hospital in Shiraz to speak with patients. At the time, I didn't know it, but this boy here was a survivor from a well-known explosion in the town of Le Merd. On the first day of the war, a precision ballistic missile likely launched from Bahrain struck a sports hall. The US denied responsibility, but investigations by the BBC and the New York Times later confirmed that the strike was, in fact, carried out by the United States. The attack killed 21 people, including children. A girls' volleyball team was inside at the time. This boy, his coach, his friends, they were all there. Since then, he has already undergone multiple surgeries on his leg, and he'll need even more. He told us that his favorite team was Barcelona and that Messi was his favorite player, and that one day he would play football again. We asked if any of his teammates had been killed. Looking back, this was a bit of an insensitive question to ask a child. Now, in front of us, his parents told us that they were okay. Outside, however, they told us the truth. His teammate and his head coach had both been killed, and they weren't ready to tell him that just yet. They wanted him to complete his recovery.
His coach and his friend are martyred, but he doesn't know. He doesn't.
I figured.
Thank you.
And in that moment, I realized something else. He probably will never play football again. You don't undergo that many surgeries on your leg and come back as an athlete, which is just another example of the destruction of war. It doesn't just take lives, it takes futures, friendships, and dreams before they even have a chance to exist. And if you stop and really think about it, it's sick, because what's happening here isn't some accident. The US and Israel are obsessed with power, control, and resources. And if those things aren't secured, they will murder your children for it. They will destroy their careers, their dreams. They will kill their friends. This man here was a street cleaner who makes a humble living. Shrapnel tore into his arms and torso, paralyzing the right side of his body. He was scheduled for another surgery later that day.
Without any military or even semi-military location close to that part, it is totally residential.
بله و ما در اون صحنه 3 تا هم شهید دادیم.
And in that attack, in that bombing, 3 people were killed.
که قطعا در بازدیدی که امروز خواهیم دید
You will see that part. چند نفر زخمی شدن اونجا؟
اونجا 3 تا شهید دادیم، 5 تا مجروح
3 killed and 5 injured.
سنگ فرش می‌کنن که دیگه ماشین نیاد.
That night, we went out to explore parts of the city. We came across a traditional dessert that Shiraz is known for, falude Shirazi.
Bismillah.
That one is rose, I think, yeah?
No, no.
8 نفر نبودیم مگه؟
Cherry.
It's cherry.
Is it cherry?
Yeah.
2 نفر برنشتن.
But I don't even know what I'm eating.
یه دونه فقط
Taste
اون
this
اون
one.
یکی شو. 9 تا داده؟
This is saffron.
Cherry, delicious.
چند تا این ما؟
Saffron.
2 4 6 8 9 تا داده دیگه. آقا جناب.
That's good. But that is really sweet. I don't know how you can eat the whole thing.
So you can add
You have to get diabetes right away.
lemon juice.
What?
You can add lemon juice on it.
Damn.
یک شماره برای من به خدا.
Still too sweet, but it's delicious.
Dimitri.
Are you happy? Are you happy?
Are you happy now?
Not happy.
That's a deep question. Yeah, I'm very happy. Thank you guys. That's good. That's too sweet. I could never eat more than a couple bites. But that's really delicious.
40 This 40
So it's starch, huh? Yes, starch. So it's, I don't even know what starch is, but these are like little strands of starch. and it's kind of crunchy.
It's made from thin strands of starch, almost like frozen noodles mixed with ice, rosewater, and lime juice. It's been around for centuries, which is interesting because the people in this region were making ice in the middle of the desert over 2,000 years ago. They did this by building these massive structures called yakhshals, which is basically like an ancient refrigerator. They would construct these mud brick domes and then channel water into shallow pools, usually from underground aqueducts called qanats. During the day, tall walls would cast shadows over the water to keep it as cool as possible. And then at night, when desert temperatures dropped dramatically, the water would freeze, layer by layer, night after night. They would then harvest the ice before sunrise and then store it in deep underground chambers insulated with thick walls designed to trap the cold and push heat out. Some of these structures were so effective that the ice would last all the way through the summer in the desert with no electricity. And that is how a dessert like falude can exist in what is one of the most hottest places on earth during the summer. Falude is refreshing, slightly sour, slightly sweet, and unlike any frozen treat that you're used to. They make it in different flavors like cherry, coconut, and of course saffron. And speaking of saffron, I had to pick some up for some friends and family back home who specifically requested it. Iran is of course famous for producing some of the best saffron in the world. Saffron has been part of Persian culture for thousands of years. It's used in food, in tea, in medicine, even historically in perfumes and dyes. But what makes it so expensive is how it's harvested. Each strand comes from a flower, the crocus, and every single one has to be picked by hand. It takes tens of thousands of flowers just to produce a small amount. That is why saffron is often referred to as red gold. And here, it's everywhere, in the food, in the desserts, in the culture itself. Of course, before heading home for the night, we had to attend another war rally. Like all of Iran, there were dozens of these rallies all over the city.
راه شهیدان خواهیم بکنیم به مامانم میگم ما جماعت که برگشتیم بابام تو خونه داشت جارو برقی میکشید و مامانم گفت یا حضرت اسرائیل هر شب برو اسرائیل یا حضرت اسرائیل هر شب برو اسرائیل. دام آقای عزیزمون بود آسد مشتبه گفتم
پهلوی بی شرف اجنبی
اکبر پهلوی بی شرف اجنبی
اکبر پهلوی بی شرف اجنبی
اکبر پهلوی بی شرف اجنبی
حیدر حیدر یا حیدر.
Back at our hotel, Shiraz experienced a heavy bombing. Explosions shook the building and woke us up from our sleep. Bombings happened throughout the day across Iran, but I noticed a pattern while I was there. Almost every night between midnight and 2 a.m., there would be powerful bombings. It didn't matter which city we were in, Tehran, Isfahan, Shiraz, wherever we were, you could expect it during this time. On this same night, the US dropped landmines across a village just outside of Shiraz. Now, they claimed that these landmines were dropped near a missile site intended to target and destroy the missile launch vehicles. But critics pointed out something important. There is no missile site in the village, and the roads there are too narrow for any kind of military equipment to even operate in. So these mines didn't land near military targets. They landed in people's homes. Some of them detonated on impact, killing civilians instantly. There was one woman who was killed in her kitchen. Other mines didn't explode right away. They fell onto the ground and stayed there, hidden, waiting. This one was found buried in a woman's backyard garden.
There it is, buried in the ground right there.
Told us the residents here, the local people, they are trying to detect houses that they have been found. Some of these mines have been dropped, and they put some kind of this mark right next to the door that it can show everyone there is still danger inside. But much more dangerous thing is that some of the houses here and some of the lands, no one is living there, so no one knows that if there is still some of these mines. And the other point is that, as you notice, it is Thursday 10:30 roughly. It is raining. Why it is dangerous? Because some of these mines might be buried under the ground, and so it is not easy, and they will not be visible, and it will be very difficult to detect and find them. One more important thing is that the soil and the rain together, they might put pressure on the mine. And as the security team told me that it might be one of the things that can trigger the mine and it can be exploded at any moment.
And it wasn't the only one. These mines were scattered all throughout the village. Crews spent the entire night trying to locate and detonate these mines safely. It's slow work, however, and it's very dangerous.
Are scattered everywhere here in this village. We were riding here, and for some half an hour, the whole area is under a very restrictions and limited, because these mines, nothing is known about them currently. But as far as we know, that they are electromagnetic mines, and they have killed some people. As we have heard last night, a woman was killed in her kitchen while she was cooking, and another man, while he get close to take one of these mines, he lost his arms and leg amputated. A highly dangerous area it is. We don't know whether they have timer, they are sensitive to heat or what. But we are here in one sport field in this village. And one of the mines near the wall, as you can see, it has been exploded. And as I got the information, the projectiles could go to the range of up to 40 meters. And very dangerous. Now, as we have been warned that we have put our phones on airplane mode, but let's see what will happen. And
so moments ago, my good friend Ali told us that this mine explodes and can affect people up to 40 meters away. He also said the mine was exploded. Moments later, he changed his mind and revealed to us that that mine has not exploded, and we are roughly 10 to 15 meters away from that mine. So Ali, thank you for taking that precaution and protecting us. Come join us, brother. Come. We are about 10 to 15 meters away from a mine that could explode at any time, as he said, and could affect people to 40 meters. So as soon as I'm done talking, I think we should maybe walk a little further away. What do you think?
I don't think.
Or should we get closer?
Stay here. Closer. Why not? Yeah. In the beginning, I was informed that it has been exploded, but after we finished reporting, we understood that it has not been exploded.
Okay, I'm gonna take the camera and I'm gonna go behind the grass and I'm gonna get closer and film. Okay? Bismillah. Thank you.
Milad. من باش میرم.
I'm gonna be quiet.
It is the green one. Do you see?
Yeah, I see.
The dark one.
This moment here was funny, but not for very long. Shortly after, we learned that a young man, recently married, found one of these mines near his truck. He didn't know what it was, so he picked it up, and it detonated in his hands, killing him instantly. His body was torn to shreds. Parts of him, his fingers, were found dozens of feet away. We met his family shortly after, and you could see it in their faces. They were absolutely shocked, in disbelief. The grief hadn't even fully settled in yet.
وای من یه دونه داشتم داداشم چی توشه وای علیرضا وای کاکا عزیزم کاکا قربونی قد بالات برم قربونی عزیزم وای وای حسین.
There are too many stories like this to tell from Shiraz. Like every city we visited on this journey, it's beautiful, resilient, and full of history. And because of the war, It's now full of trauma. There's so much more that we didn't get to see, but we had to stay moving. There was a lot more to cover. In the next episode, we make an epic drive through the Zagros Mountains on our way to Bushehr, a coastal port city near the infamous Kharg Island. Every location we visited in Bushehr would be bombed shortly after we left, including our hotel, which led us to believe that we may have been targeted for our journalism. I'll explain everything about that in the next episode. Now, if you're interested in watching the full interviews from my trip, you can find them on Reason to Resist with the journalist Dimitri Lascaris, who joined me on this journey through Iran. Now, if you'd like to support my work, you can do so by becoming a member of the channel, or you can make a contribution at propandco.com/donate. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care of yourselves.
Trust nothing. No